Hanzo Shears. This was sent to me by a sharpener because the customer said it pushed hair. And I asked him, I said, what kind of shear is it? He said, I don't know. It's some cheap something. It's got an H on it. I don't think that's a cheap scissor. So let's look at why it's pushing hair, and let's see how to fix it. So this is the HH8. The H stands for Hanzo. This company has popped up in recent years, and this was their very first shear. So this may be one of the older ones. It may have been, this particular one might have been around. This particular handle is the most popular handle, and this HH8 is not the length, but it comes in a lot of different lengths, and this is the 5.5. And they advertise it that's for wet to dry. So it's just an all-purpose convex edge shear. That's good to know. The other thing you need to know is that probably the hairstylists, they call it a reasonably priced shear. The hairstylist probably paid $600 for it. And this is one of their reasonably priced shears. Probably one of their lowest priced ones. I thought they all started about $700. So even though they made payments most likely, that stylist is expecting this to cut like new when you sharpen it. She's expecting it to really cut nice because she's invested money in it. A lot of times they send them back to the Hanzo company to sharpen, and for whatever reason they may give it to you as a sharpener to sharpen in their salon. So let's take a look at what's going on with this. So he said the customer said it was pushing hair. So we've got my little chopped on lady, and let's see if you can see this. See it's pushing? You see it's pushing? Push, push, push. And it also, I don't know if you can hear it, it's grabbing hair at the tip. Youch. Yes, this customer, I can see why she wasn't happy. Let's just see what they do on wet tissue. Let's do dry tissue. Because these might have passed the wet tissue test. My friend Dennis Brooks just did a pretty good video. It's on in the Facebook Sharpeners channel about testing shears. And wet tissue doesn't catch everything. See, that cut wet tissue beautifully. So the person may have sharpened it to cut wet tissue. What's the customer talking about? They cut wet tissue fine. This is why you really need to test on hair and on tissue, especially if you're doing some really expensive shears. Fortunately, this particular customer, he's ordered hair, so I guess he knows he has a problem. Here's some of the things I'm seeing before we even get into sharpening. Number one, they're adjusted right. I feel a drag in here. Yeah, it's convexed here, but the tip is not convexed. Okay, you see this is convexed, but looky here. That's a bevel at the tip. Also, this is where it was snagging hair. Do you see? The tip has a little bit of gap in it. It doesn't quite meet. You see a little bitty gap? That's enough to grab hair. It's pushing, I think, just because it's not sharp enough. See what the ride line looks like. Well, the ride line is actually kind of gone at the tip. I'll let you look at that too. See there, you can follow that ride, but it's pretty much gone right there, those last few millimeters. He must have had some problems at the tip, or maybe it's from the previous sharpening. Look, see? There's no rod at that last 3 or 4 millimeters at the tip. So, let's get on these and sharpen them, and so I can send them back to him. Now, some of you may be worried about sharpening Hanzo because it says that, you know, if they don't use them for their sharpener, they void their warranty. If you go on the website, unless they've changed it, I haven't looked at it in the last couple of months, on the website it says their lifetime warranty covers manufacturer's defects. And if you read on down, it says manufacturer's defects will show up in the first 2 weeks of use. So basically, I don't think your customers need to worry about losing their warranty by using you for sharpening. Does that make sense? So first of all, I want to take this apart. This is what we call a UFO screw. And so you need to have some of these tools. It's a pretty common screw now. So let's color in our edge and do our ride line. Now, one thing I want to show you before we get into that, and I don't know if I can see, if you can see that in the light, but there's like a different color in the metal right along here. Anyway, I don't know if I can show this to you, but there is a difference in the light. What that means, and the handle is a separate piece from the blade, which means even if the blades are really hard steel, the handle should be soft, and I should be able to move it and make the tips come together. I'll do that at the end after I've sharpened it. Also, usually if you see there's a contour to the handle, that means you'd be able to bend the handle. So I'm using just a regular 2000 grit Japanese waterstone. And these must be out of alignment because I'm not getting a ride line here, but I am getting it down to the tip. So I'm going to work the corner. And I'm pushing down pretty hard. And I've got a ride line all the way down. Push the whole thing on here. Angle it so the whole blade's on here. And I've got a ride line all the way down. Wimpy at the tip, but it's there. Worn 800 micron. Not doing anything special with this the way I normally work, except these shears will take a 50-degree angle. Let's see if I can get a 50-degree angle without getting too aggressive here. I have to get something a little bit more aggressive to get to it. Yeah, came up pretty quick. I don't have it at the tip, but I've got this in the middle. 50 degrees. Your temptation is just to pull it out to get that tip, but I want to make sure I make that convex, especially since it was beveled before. Sort of like sculpting. Work all the way down, don't have it right at the tip. The tip is kind of shot down, so, oh, let me show you. Everybody likes my drawing stuff. This is my last drawing. Let me erase this. So, what I'm looking at on this shear is, this is the edge. That's the back of the shear. And what has happened is that they've come down here, where it should have been like here. But I can't grow metal back. So what I have to do, since this is like this has come down, not supposed to, I'm going to have to work on taking off that area. So I've got a nice continuous. So I'm working on the area behind the tip. Does that make sense? I don't think you can see it, but I'm working on this spot right here, like 3 millimeters before the tip. And that's looking straight. Now, I had to work it down enough so I actually get a burr at the tip, and I'm not quite there. That's why the Sharpie is so helpful. The little red marker, the edge finder. Close enough. And that looks a lot more convexy. Might be surprised how quick this is going to be to repair. Now this one doesn't have the same problem at the tip as that one is the one that was the problem. Probably when he pulled it off the machine, he did a little, you know, it's real easy to do. If you're not watching, I've done it. We've all done it. Any sharpeners that say they haven't done it's lying. It does dip down more than I thought, so I still have to work on that area back there. Not there yet. Not there yet. May want to give it a little squirt of water. It's feeling kind of warm. Almost there. What I'm looking at, you see that little bit of red there at the tip? If that red's still there, I know I don't have a burr. If I don't have a burr, it's not going to cut. But I want to gingerly get there. I'm taking the area behind there. Maybe 1 more millimeter. May have to shorten these a millimeter or so once I get them done. So I'm not too concerned. A little bit more. Take your time. Just a tad more. Still about 1 millimeter. I'd like to get that. That's close enough. I'll probably have to shorten them. We'll see. I don't want to accentuate the problem. So what I'm doing now is I'm going back to my stone. So now I'm going to polish. I probably need to give myself a new polishing plate. I want to make sure they're smooth. No catches. So I got all the burrs off. Let's put them back together and see if they push hair. And I tighten it to where I'm feeling it, where it feels like it's the right tightness. A little bit more. That's too tight. Take it off. And first cuts on paper in case there's any burr left behind. Double check that adjustment. And the tips don't meet. Now I've examined these and I know the handle is a different material than the steel. So I feel like the handle will bend. I want the tips to come together, which means I want the handle to come out. So I make this a shape of an arrow, and I just gently squeeze. Just, oh man, that moves super easy. Very soft metal in the handle. I've over-moved it. I've got the weakest hands in the world, and I can move it very easy. That looks about right. Okay. Wet tissue first. Remember, cut wet tissue before. Has a little bit of a drag right there, which means it's out of alignment. If it doesn't push hair, I'm leaving the alignment issue alone. Nope, no push. Slight push at the tip. Maybe ever so slight push at the tip, but it doesn't pull. You can also kind of check it on fur. Yeah, that's nice. Nice crisp cut. That's artificial fur, by the way. So a little oil on it, and I'm going to send these back. Now, if you really want to get them super correct, as I said, they cut fine. They have a little bit of a drag here, and I saw when I did the ride lines, it looked like it was out of alignment. Well, now that I've oiled them, it feels pretty good. I don't know if I would worry about it. And you run the risk. After you oil it, double check that adjustment, because this will loosen up. I might do it one click tighter. There we go. Always feel that tip, look at it, make sure the tips come together. I'm pretty happy with these, so that's all there is to do with Hanzo Shears. Just do the things you know how to do. And you can put them at they're designed to have a 50-degree angle. I think that's one of the reasons they recommend they be sharpened more often, is because as you know, the thinner the angle or the more acute the angle, the faster they get dull. And that burr came up pretty easy, so I won't say anything about it. And be careful in your comment, sharpeners. So if you want to get into the shear sharpening business, you can go onto my website. I have a free information package about our equipment and our training and all that. I would also recommend my book. It's on Amazon, it's also on our website. And it's not about how to sharpen, but it's about how to get started in it, or if you're already a sharpener, I'll give you some tips you'll need. But there's, I mean, this is 30 years worth of information in here. A lot of marketing ideas, but more than marketing, what kind of supplies you need to have with you, and, you know, how to do drop shipping, mail order, just what equipment or types of equipment, things, just some basic shear knowledge. And I think it'll be helpful to anybody. Worked hard on this book. This is my second book out, and I think it's much better than my DIY book.